Hey guys, welcome back to Class with Cass, my YouTube series where I give you the hottest tips and tricks for living your best student life. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Cassandra. I applied to 17 schools and got into all 17, including all 8 Ivy Leagues. So this is my channel where I just want to pass on some of the information and knowledge and wisdom that was imparted onto me, onto you. So today I'm revealing for the first time my UC essays. Now these are the essays that got me into UC Berkeley, UCI, and UCSD, UC San Diego. So yeah, here we go. In this video, I'm going to do something a little bit different than my previous reveal videos. Instead of, using this time to read my essays out loud, I'm just going to put it on my website, link to my website below, so you can read it, have it open with you, and follow along. And I'm just going to skip that part of me reading it and just dive right into sort of my reaction or tips for you. So let's get into it. So the way that I like to approach the UC essays is by asking my students, what are the 4 to 6 most important areas of your life? Now, everybody has these things, right? It can be things that you do in school, can be things that you do outside of school. And it also doesn't have to be like a thing that you do. It could be you want to talk about your family structure or family dynamic, something to do with your culture. Maybe there's a part of your personality that you really want to show. Whatever it is, right? We want to find a way to squeeze all 4 to 6 of these things into your UC application, which is 4 questions. So it's going to take a little bit of puzzling and Tetrising to figure out what goes where. So for me, I'm just going to list off a few things that were really important to me at that time. I was really big in playwriting. By the way, I have videos on all of these on my channel, so you can check them out. I was really big into playwriting, creative writing in general, but specifically playwriting and poetry. I was really into journalism. I was basically a kid reporter turned teen reporter. I had a lot of leadership experience. I went to leadership camps. I did a lot of volunteer work. I worked with kids, whether it was to collect canned goods or, teaching them in Sunday school. So those were kind of the things that was most important to me. Some other parts of me that are important is why I am so attracted to storytelling. And also I wanted to showcase a part of my personality, which is fun and, doesn't take myself too seriously. And at that time, a really passionate fangirl. So you'll see elements of that spread throughout these 4 UC essays. So to start out with the first essay, it's talking about my leadership experience leading specifically kindergarteners at my church, teaching Sunday school and leading cell groups. I think I do a really good job with laying out the challenge of teaching kids, and something that I advise my students is whenever they're talking about working with other people, whether it is their peers or students that are younger than them, or even talking about like a teacher or someone in their family that really inspired them, just by giving them a name in their essay helps anchor emotionally so much more. I think this essay of mine would be really different if I said, for example, in the second line, my kids fight a lot. One girl steals one boy's toys and he pulls her hair. That kind of just removes the closeness that I really want to feel as a reader. So I think something to aim for in every essay is setting up an element of struggle, and with struggle comes an element of growth. So for me, the lesson that I'm learning through this essay and through this experience is that my needs don't come first, theirs do. And I'm honest about it, right? I'm honest that it's not easy. In fact, it is so difficult to work with kids. In fact, it doesn't really come almost naturally to me. It's like a skill set that I had to build up over time. So when you read this, you understand that, she put blood, sweat, and tears into, becoming this big sister for these little kids. Of course, the essay ends in a positive place, right? What is so rewarding and why do I do it? That's the best part of the essay to me is I'm making a difference in the lives of these children, whether by cheering them up or, teaching them Bible stories. So I think that's kind of where I wanted to end this essay, is in that human connection, in that rewarding area. So my second essay, which is tackling the question of creativity. If you follow my channel, this essay is familiar to you. It's my potato essay, comparing plays to potatoes. So when you take an essay that's a longer form somewhere else and you're like cutting it down for your UC schools, you're playing a game with yourself. What are the most important parts of this essay to keep? It was very important for me to keep the creative element of it, right? Which is the tongue-in-cheek metaphor of like my play is like a potato. That to me was key to keep because this question is all about creativity, and I think the way that I answered it is pretty creative. To me, like when I was going through my longer version, it's just a matter of what can go and the essay still at its heart remains the same. Something that was really important to me to keep in this essay is, again, this element of struggle. I keep that paragraph of life as a potato isn't easy, right? I want to show the reader that through this process, through this metaphor, I'm constantly growing and changing and learning. Another thing too that I think was important to preserve when cutting it down for the UC schools in this version is actually that last sentence. It is the most resume-y thing within this essay, right? I'm listing the places where my plays have been presented, but I think that was important to preserve because it connects solidly to the things on my awards and honors and activities list without managing to sound too braggy. Like the evidence is there and it's up to the reader to like make those connections on like what's on my resume to what's on my essay. And the reason it's important to include that is to kind of back up the passion, the creativity that I'm presenting in this essay. Okay, let's talk about my third essay, which is describing the most significant challenge that I faced. So this is where I used my Common App, which a lot of you guys have already read. So let's go through kind of what I chose to cut. I chose to cut the majority of my mom's story, right? So in my Common App, 650 words, I have the room and I have the emotional space and literal like real estate room in the essay to go to that deeper a story of my mom's story. But because your UC essays are shorter, I was forced to like kind of almost cut that out and just really focus on me, because at the end of the day, they're not admitting my mom, they're admitting me. So she does show up here. She only shows up twice, really, in the third and fourth paragraph. When my mother asked me to teach her proper English, that I wrote about my reaction to that, I cried, and then as my mother's vocabulary began to grow. But really, the rest of this essay is about how I overcame this struggle and worked doubly hard to, make up for this lack. So in the struggle essay, obviously you want to lay out the obstacles that you have been facing, and then of course how you manage to push through or persevere and overcome those elements of adversity. Something that I don't want you to get totally caught up in is whenever you are tackling a most significant challenge essay, keep in mind that everybody's challenges looks different and feels different. My challenge to you might not be a big deal, but to me, it felt like something that I really had to overcome, right? It's the most significant in your life, not ever, right? It's all in relation to yourself and your journey. So don't press yourself to like find a massive life-altering challenge. It doesn't have to be that. If it matters to you, if it was a big roadblock for you, I want to hear about it. As long as it matters to you, that's going to give it the heart and the emotion that this essay needs. Objectively, it does not have to be large. Okay, so this last essay is kind of fascinating. It's kind of the reverse of the previous question, because if you've been following me, you know my classic SPY activity question. Now, usually on the other schools I applied to, it was 150 words. Now, this is longer than that, twice as long. So I basically was able to have more fun with it and go a little bit more in depth to why I do it. So in terms of having fun on it, I kind of played up the struggle aspect. I tell them about how it's hard to compete with other agencies. It is difficult to, be the youngest on the carpet, and also really it's truly not glamorous, guys. I'm telling you now, it was not a glamorous life. So I was able to include more of those elements. And then the other part that I was able to expand on is why I do it and like what's my angle, right? Because there's a lot of journalists and every journalist MO is different. It varies case by case, journalist by journalist. And I realized that I really wanted to uplift women with my work. That's why I wrote my content celebrates work by women, about women, and for women. And all of this is giving a little bit more insight of why I love journalism. It's the ability to increase diversity in Hollywood. That's one. And then it's another one is to bring the stars a little bit closer to Earth. So I wanted to make sure give this essay like a deeper meaning. I don't just do it for fun. Like I actually have a mission and I care about this societally. So there you have it. Those are the essays that I used for my UC applications. And yeah, let me know what you think. If you have any questions or comments on what you want to see next, leave them in the comments below, and I will see you guys next time. Cheers.